Respond to the Chief Justice's call as citizens to put really our troubles in front of the Most High in prayer. Because of course on Thursdays we bring you the highlights of the week, and the week that was, of course, everything literally was about every angle you can think of about how the coronavirus is going to indeed affect you and affect me. But in the times like this, when we are fast approaching 200 cases of coronavirus, we can't only rely on things scientific. We also have to rely on things spiritual. Let's take a look at what the Chief Justice had to say.
What we must never forget is our national anthem. Our national anthem is a call to prayer. And so is the preamble to our Constitution. It, among others, say, God protect South Africa. We are exposed. We are not protected. And my call is to all those who can pray to see it as an absolute necessity, starting from today, to do so. And those who know just how powerful prayer can be, I plead with you from the depth of my heart that at least every Wednesday and every Sunday, go out there in groups that do not exceed 70 to pray, knowing that with prayer, nothing is impossible.
As Miriam Makeba said in a song called Masakani, she said, we are like this because of prayer. And so we should never, ever ridicule a call for prayer. And the CJ, they're anticipating, then some may want to criticize him, to say, what is this man of the judiciary talking about? Is he a man of the cloth? Is he a man of the judiciary? When you are a man of prayer, you don't take off that cap when you are somewhere else. And so there is a leader leading by example. Of course, religious leaders gathering this morning, talking to the president about what their role, the role of the church is going to be. A very, very touchy issue, forgive the pun, because touching, which is truly an expressive thing in the religious circles where people hug. In the Anglican Church and the Catholic Church, we have a moment during the church service which is called time of peace. And that's where you extend the hand, you hug someone and say, peace be with you. That's going to have to stop. Take a look at what the Archbishop of Cape Town, Archbishop Makgoba, had to say to the faithful of the Anglican Church.
I have issued the guidelines around the coronavirus in the last couple of weeks. The World Health Organization has declared it a pandemic now. I think it is important for me to revise the guidelines that I've issued, and also in the light of what the Archbishop of Canterbury and the other Anglican Communion primates have issued. So I just want to say, now we need to suspend physical contact with one another at the peace. Don't shake hands or embrace. Instead, wave hands at one another. Suspend direct physical contact when you bless or lay hands on one another. Suspend contact between communicants and the chalice by offering only the consecrated water, that's a wafer or bread. Only the priest should take the wine. We also advise make hand sanitizers available in church. If you are making pastoral visits to hospitals or homes for the aged, be strict about disinfecting yourself, washing hands, etc. before and after your visits. Remind parishioners who are ill to stay at home and request home communion or pastoral visits if appropriate. I pray that our communion life in worship and pastoral care will be rooted in the compassion of Christ and appropriate care for one another in a time of uncertainty.
All right. My Archbishop there, Archbishop Thomas Koba, says you must just say, peace be with you. Don't touch, even in church. Eh? We had Lizel there expressing worry about the fact that they won't be able to touch. We must suspend physical contact so that we can stem the tide of this. And I was saying to her, there are other love languages. There are 5 love languages. Touch is only one. Then you know, if you don't talk too much to your partner, this is a time to do it. You got to talk. That's another love language, right? Gifts and what, because shops are now closed, maybe you won't be able to do that. But suspend physical contact. All right. I want to really express high appreciation for what the religious leaders have done. Can you imagine the ZCC pilgrimage being cancelled? This is massive. Can you imagine the mosques on Fridays being closed? It's in fact unimaginable, but it just shows that we have had citizens, and this is, in this case, religious leaders, rising to the occasion and really doing their best to make sure we stem the tide of this virus. Of course, business, also coming to the party. We had a conversation with Selora Setaba, who was coming to talk about business and had some suggestions, learning from what Italy has done. Let's take a look.
The SAUBC supports all the measures that the President announced on Sunday. But there is a however. As President Macron of France calls them, draconian, if you translate directly from French. But what we would like to see from our government, and I'm going to quote the President of France verbatim, on the stand that is taken in support of the of business in France.
Yeah.
He says those facing difficulties will not have to spend any money, not for taxes or social charges. That is your payrolls. Macron said he also indicated that rents and utility bills could be suspended for small and medium-sized companies in distress. France will ensure that all bank loans to companies are backed by a state guarantee totaling 300 billion euros, he said. He also suspended the application of his signature on a pension fund bill that they were supposed to pass, because he used the term, this is akin to the term that we used during the struggle. No normal sport in an abnormal society. And we're trying to say no normal business in a disaster situation.
All right. Selora Setaba there making the bid there for business and for taxes to be suspended. Do you think that's a good idea? Of course, give us a ring if you want to converse on that matter. Lechisa Tenodi yesterday saying that that is something that is not on the agenda at the moment, and in fact calling on business to bring something on the table. And of course, if you are a business and you live in a community like Hammanskraal, where the people there, Tshwane municipality has failed to give them water, right? You got to then rise to the occasion, and this brings something. I won't have time to talk about it a lot today, but you would recall that a couple of months ago, that when there was no water in Hammanskraal, we made a call here for a lot of you to donate water and so on. So a company called AIEC, and I may have gotten it wrong, but it's a listed company that deals in chemicals, wanted to go and build boreholes or dig boreholes and purify water for school children in schools around Hammanskraal. Can you believe that the Tshwane municipality said no to them? But no, we have to go to tender. why it's okay that they've dissolved them, man. Because they were no good. But now we must go to tender. A company is saying, I'm going to install water. I'm going to install for free for school kids so that when they go to exams and so on, they can have fresh water, they can be able to wash their hands. I know, Tshwane municipality. A very senior person. Well, it's a tender, man. You can't free road. Guy who is free. Shameful stuff. Shameful. Anyway, what is the role of civil society? Let's take a look at what Chris, who's the chairperson from Sanko, chairperson of Sanko in Gauteng, had to say. Let's take a look.
Let's take this opportunity to alert the nation that as Sanko, in particular in this province, what we have already done through our structure is to avail our structures to partner with the churches, to partner with the faith-based organization. Yeah. We ensured that they partner with any formation that has got interest to ensure that they can conduct public awareness. Yeah. We further ensured that we encourage the smaller groups of some sort in a form of community, what you call community health volunteers, that wherever they go with a package that will ensure that the community understand the usage of this in preventing of this pandemic.
All right, fantastic. And so, you know, Chinodi, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, said something very, very profound yesterday. You say, in a moment of crisis, right, it is expected that this crisis is like an opportunity to do the things we are supposed to do in the first place. And I think for me, that is a big takeaway from this week. Whether be it churches, whether be it business, whether be it civil society, right? Ask yourself, what are these things that we have suspended, we had not been doing as we are supposed to do? And in fact, now this crisis, we should not be wasted. There's a phrase in English that says, don't waste a crisis. You must never waste a crisis. A crisis must be an opportunity for us to do the right things. Now, people from Tshwane, right, or from Magaliesburg, or from the northwest, who don't have water to drink at the moment, you wonder where will they get water to wash their hands? And so municipalities must wake up and do that which they were supposed to do in the first place, which is to provide services efficiently. And this is the silver lining that you must take away from this crisis, that everybody must wake up. Disaster management people must wake up. Churches must wake up. Stop to be internally focused. Focus on communities that are looking up to you. Because at the bottom of this hour, Sibusi saw Kuzoayo is a doctor on call tonight. Give us a ring on 010-594-5140. Any question you may have. My first question is, if you live with a partner and that partner is affected, what does the quarantine look like? Do they go and be quarantined in a separate room, or are you both quarantined? We're going to get answers to that and many questions at the bottom of this hour. We're focusing on coronavirus and how it affects you as we round off this week. That was Here on Your View with me on Khoputse JJ Tawa. Let's take a break now.